the United States of America. By some, he's been called controversial.
I'll keep my freedom. I'll keep my guns. Try to keep my money and my religion too. Now, keep in mind that some of my guests have been approached by Homeland Security or FBI saying, why are you going on the Clay Douglas show?
My message to those guys, if they're listening this morning, is go get a cup of coffee. Maybe you'll learn something.
We both took the same oath, to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I don't recall there being an expiration date on that. I'm going to keep my big keep my friends the same. Keep the government out of my business, and y'all can keep the change.
He is the free American, Clay Douglas.
We know what we need. We know who to blame.
Catch the Free American Hour, weekdays at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern.
I'll keep the USA, and y'all can keep
Maybe it won't let me get into my email with this.
For the podcast and more details, visit www.freeamerican.com or catch the podcast by phone by calling 832-999-8621.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. I'm your host, Clay Douglas, trying to get everything working here. And we've been having a few problems with computers. My guest today is David Kaas. Now, David's been on my show many times. We've talked about spinning water. We've talked about all of that. And I do that every morning. I alter the molecular structure of my coffee. It tastes better. It works better. He's got a book out about it called Farm Physics. Got a number of videos up on YouTube about the whole process. And good morning, Henri. Appreciate it. Appreciate you being here. David, now, you've got no political backing, you've got no political party, and you would like to run for president. I've always supported you in that ambition because I think with your background as a farmer, with a background as growing up on the land, that you are as capable and of running this country as a Rhodes Scholar by the name of Bill Clinton. Yeah, you probably done less cocaine than Bill Clinton, but that probably shouldn't be a hazard on becoming president. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to? What makes you think that if you became president?
Well, Clayton.
Why do you want to do this?
Well, to tell you the truth, about 25 years ago, one night, I was working as a computer engineer for Sperry for 6 years. I was walking around my dining room table and praying out loud to the Creator and asking Him for some direction. And I had been reading for years and years. I'd read the Catholic Bible cover to cover, and I just started out raising my daughter with my wife, and I was really seeking more information as to how to go about this. So, as I said, I was walking around my dining room table and praying to the Creator, and all of a sudden a very loud voice boomed into my dining room, and it said, "David, you've done well. This is the one you call God." And this voice started talking to me, and it was out loud. You could hear it. And I walked around my dining room table for about 4 hours and discussed what this voice wanted me to do. And I finally ended up asking if I could tell my wife. And he said, it wouldn't advise it, but it said, go ahead. And I told her the next morning, and the following Monday she had me evicted from the home and divorced me shortly after. But, you know, that was just the start. And ever since then, for 25 years, I've been on the road and talking to this voice in my head, and it's debriefed me on this entire situation that we all face and that we're all going to be voting on in November. And you're right, I don't have any political experience, and I don't have anybody to back me, and I don't really have anything. But I have applied to nationofchange.org, who is now registered in all 50 states with the Electoral College, now seeking their candidate of choice. And I've sent them a couple of my books, and I sent them a 5-page letter of application. And I also asked them if they do decide upon myself as their main candidate, that they would accept a nomination from Jesse Ventura as my VP candidate for this fall's election. Now, like I said, I don't have a prayer in hell to get this nomination, but we'll have to wait and see, because some things just seem to work out for the best, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So I'm preparing my YouTube introduction for the presidency at this moment. I'm going to be putting it up on the YouTube in another month, and you know, from there on, it's off to the races. So all we really need is for nationofchange.org people to give me their nod of approval, and who knows, Clayton, you and me may be making a road trip this summer to all the college campuses around the country, just from one spot to the next. And yeah, I think it'd be kind of fun. I think it'd be interesting, and I think it would gain a lot of momentum amongst the younger crowd. And these are the people that, I'm sorry to say, we have to speak to them now and get out there and get to them, because the people my age and your age and even older, either they're scared, they're stuck in their ways, or they're just too damn dumb now to realize what's really going on.
You know, I have a real problem on this. You know, David, I've been an investigative reporter for 40 years. I've covered a lot of stories. I've researched my history. I'm working on history and all that. And you know, I've almost come to the conclusion that the elite are correct. That the people, the common man out there, is too damn dumb to rule himself. People have asked me why I hate the Jews. My response is, I don't hate Jews. You know, I don't like tyrants. I won't tolerate tyrants. I won't tolerate a thief. And, you know, outside of that, I don't care what religion you are. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what race you are. And I don't think you care either.
No, I don't. I don't care at all.
They try to paint us as racist, and it's simply not true. And neither am I anti-Semitic. Am I anti-Israel? Am I anti-New World Order? Absolutely.
Yeah, I am too. I'd like to see a lot of our old ways of doing things brought back into popularity. And I'd also like to see us move forward in time and space into the future, as far as, you know, getting rid of the things that we don't need around us, such as all this cotton-produced fabric and all this non-disposable plastic and just junk that we got filling up our waste dumps now. All these things need to be produced from hemp, so they're all biodegradable and they all break down with time. So we need to make some changes here. But just that Back to Eden Films site with the new technique for growing prehistoric-sized vegetables with hardly any gardening time at all, that's just amazing. I mean, I was raised on a farm, and I didn't even realize this yet. So, you know, all these new discoveries are just now breaking out, and if we legalize hemp for production in over 600 products we use in our homes nowadays, and we convert our engines over to hydrogen-based fuel taken from the water we're drinking, and just make a few changes, this whole system would be up and running fine and dandy again. See, the difference, Clayton, is we have everything in place nowadays that we need. We don't have it like it was 100 years ago, where we don't have telephones, we don't have electricity, or running water, or toilet paper. We've got all these things. All we need to do now is just do it right, and it'll all work fine. But
now I've got 2 videos up on my website, David. Excuse me for interrupting you, but this is really important. Now, I've tried to tell people that we're in a war now. We're in a war now, and even the common man is starting to wake up. We got NDAA, we got troops in the streets, we got exercises, New World Order exercises happening right now in Atlanta, along the Gulf Coast, all over the place. And the police state is really on a roll. It's really on a roll. It's hard to determine whether it's communism or fascism or the new modern 21st century combination of both. But over 50 years ago, almost 80 years ago, after the Federal Reserve took over and started issuing our money, the Hearst Corporation, the DuPont corporations, they prospered, and they basically, the communists in the Soviet Union and in China stole the $1 trillion a year crop from the American people. And if a man with a badge can walk up to you, now I've been walking with you smoking a joint down the beach in Venice, California, and we didn't break any laws, or we didn't commit a crime. Doing the same thing in Texas 50 years ago, I could have gone to jail for 99 years. If a man with a badge can walk up and say, "What's that you got in your pocket, son?" "Whoa, I'm going to have to take you in," then you live in a police state. Now, 40 years ago, I wrote about a president that came on. I think I used the name Stout. Dr. Stout took over and became president and abolished all laws against victimless crimes and set Americans free everywhere except 4 states, which retained the same laws that they had today. That was science fiction 40 years ago when I wrote it, Dave. Today, 20 states, you can do that. California being one of them. You can walk down a main street, smoke a joint, and not go to jail for it. Now, that's progress, but it's not enough. It's not enough, in my opinion. If you were president, would you abolish all the laws against victimless crimes? If there's no corpus delicti, there is no crime. Is that not true?
Yes, that's exactly right. And if I get elected president, there's so many sweeping changes that I'm going to make, Clayton. I mean, I'm just going to roll back the hands of time on all these unbelievable crimes that we're being prosecuted for, being fined for, being written tickets for. I mean, parking tickets are ridiculous. I just went to my son's school play yesterday, and I got a $50 ticket for parking in front of the school. I was 5 minutes late getting back out to my car. And the officer, of course, wouldn't give me any breaks at all. But I just thought to myself, these little things are exactly what everybody is so concerned about. No one has control. No one has the ability to change the big laws, but everybody is really squawking about the grocery prices going up and the gasoline prices going out of sight, and nobody can buy anything anymore for a reasonable price. You can remember 30 years ago when in the United States there was what was known as a reasonable price for everything, and anything that was overpriced, people just walked right by. They're not going to pay that much for a piece of junk. But nowadays, it's all junk. They all cost a lot, and it's all no good for us. So this is what I want to turn around and turn back to the way it used to be, where you can sit down at a supper table, eat some good food that was freshly grown and freshly cooked, and you knew was going to nourish your body. you go to school and you can learn something in school where you could get out and get a job and use what you learned in school. You know, it's like anymore, life isn't what it used to be, Clayton, and it's not going to be in the future unless we all get together and get our act together in this next election. And that's why I am urging every person, regardless of your age, regardless of your sexual preference, regardless of anything, you all need to wake up now and support what we're saying and get on the bandwagon with us. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention today is I have been really kind of appalled at the way no one supports anything at all anymore. And I wanted to mention to all the listeners out there to please, please, please make a donation to Clayton Douglas's fund here and help him get this message out there. I'm working with him, and together we're trying the best we can. But without any funding at all, it's hard to put even a plate of food on the table at night or pay your rent. So I know how hard it is, and I know how hard it's going to get. But if we all pull together, like I say, make a small donation or make a large donation, but make a donation today, and it will do you good. I'm telling you, the angels are watching everything we're all doing right now. They're taking note. So make a donation, and you'll feel better tonight.
Well, you know what, folks, if you make a donation to me, I will send you a copy of a book that you'd have to pay $35 for. And, you know, we've got people. Now, this is one of the things that I want to talk about, because while you're telling people to make a donation, buy a book, you know, I'm telling people you have been basically getting screwed in the ass supporting Ron Paul. And I've known that for a couple of years because I went to Milwaukee Wisconsin. I went up to Ron Paul's event there, and I saw his staff and took them a copy of the magazine, Free American Magazine, that was out in the newsstands down at Barnes & Noble with Ron Paul on the cover. They wouldn't let me see him. They wouldn't let me see him.
Well, all these different politicians, some of these people look great. Some of them even got good standing records, and I don't know any of them personally. So, but that's fine. I'm not running for them, and I don't think it makes any difference. But what we're doing, Clayton, is really kind of unbelievable to everyone else. That's why you get so much flack and you get so much backslap from all the idiots out there, but they don't even realize that you've done something completely and totally alone for all this time, and since we met, now it's you and me doing it together, and soon enough it'll be more than just. And I also shouldn't fail to mention Lynn, who is your backup now, and it's great to have a woman behind you. I know this. I've got a good one here myself. But
that and a quarter, I might be able to get a cup of coffee.
Hey, I've thought about cooking my old grinds the second day and see how that tastes. But you know, hey, I like it when I have to rough it. I always enjoyed Boy Scouts and going out and camping out in the wild and making your own stuff and cooking your own food and finding a way to wipe your ass on the tree leaves, so to speak. But
well, let's talk about now. We've had. I saw a story came across my desk the other day about how many millions of dollars Obama were spending, the Democrats were spending in advertising to convince you to vote for Obama, and the Republicans are doing the same thing, maybe with more money, to promote Romney and Ron Paul and Rand Paul. Rand Paul was seeming like there was going to be somebody that cared about us, didn't it? and he sold us out. He's voting for Romney. Romney is Israeli. Let me, as president, now you know we've talked about this forever. What is the, what would your stance on dual citizenship, Israelis, people who owe their allegiance to communist Israel, the people that have engaged us in wars, and if you try to talk about it, somebody, one of them, one idiot out there, one plant is out there screaming that you're anti-Semitic. If you try to talk about illegal aliens, they try to call you a racist. Now, and our presidents have known that there's a force out there, it's the banking force, and they're controlling all the politics. You don't get to vote for anybody because if the media don't tell you that David Kaas is running, the people don't know, do they?
No, they don't know at the moment, but they're going to know in about 90 more days, Clayton, because the YouTube is now the way everybody communicates. Every piece of information is now available on the YouTube, and I like it that way. I like it fine because this old two-party system and this old three channels of news, ABC, NBC, and CBS.
Let's see. Mitt Romney runs Bain Capitol, which runs Clear Channel. So if you're listening to Rush Limbaugh or Michael Savage, you won't hear Clay Douglas because the Israelis, the Mossad, control Bain Capitol, Clear Channel.
Right. Well, hey, Mitt Romney's been calling every night with his recorded sales pitch, and I just hang up on him as soon as I get it. But, I mean, my God, how many times is that guy going to call me with a recorded message? It's, like, ridiculous. But, like I say, Clay, this is a race, and this is the biggest race of all time, and we haven't even started it yet, and the curtain hasn't even started to go up yet. We've been practicing our lines and getting to know each other backstage for this time right now. But this summer, just a couple months, just another month or so from now, we're going to be hitting the trail, so to speak, and getting our voters all lined up. Get them with a pen in their hand to do a write-in vote, because that's the only way we can win this election is by having every one of our supporters sign a write-in ballot with their name on it, and then they have to be counted, and it can be recounted as many times as they like to verify the total vote count. But no machines will be used by any of my voters, and it's because it's just another way that they've taken all the votes and given us a faulty return on who actually got elected. So we're done with those voting machines. In fact, if I get elected, we'll be scrapping them all, put them in the grinder. It's another ridiculous way. It's just as ridiculous as the way they changed the frequency on the cell phone, so now it affects all the honeybees, and it's causing them all to not be able to find the way back to the hive. It's just like putting fluoride in our toothpaste and drinking water. It's like, what are you talking about? Our own government doesn't protect us any longer?
David, I have been trying to point out that the whole pharmaceutical industry, the medical industry, the cancer industry, the doctors are basically being well paid to drug you down, to do the same thing that they did to the Chinese during the Opium Wars, to destabilize a country. And, you know, what do we, they're doing it to us. They're doing it to us right now. The food supply. Now, the ninth plank on the Communist Manifesto, and it's interesting. Now, you know, I'll ask you the question I've been asking a lot of my guests. Who won the Cold War? If we won the Cold War, how come every plank on the Communist Manifesto is intact in America today? And for you, Gold Dog, I did not go to Vietnam. I volunteered for Vietnam. I did not go. I caught spinal meningitis and the week before I went over there, and I didn't go. And I also refused to salute or follow orders from the point that the U.S. Army tried to kill me. And I have not followed orders or saluted since then.
Well, Clayton, I'll tell you, the Cold War was all a sham. They set us up, and they're knocking us down today. Actually, the Soviet Union and the United States of America, I understand now, had a space program in unison back in 1968. In fact, we set up on Mars a small colony with the Russians, and we've been there ever since. So this whole Cold War scenario has all been a scam just to drain both of our budgets.
Now, let me bring you up another point here. I've tried to point out to people, because I know that UFOs are real. I mean, I've talked to the people that escorted the aliens from Roswell. You know, and I believe we've got these flying machines, and we've had them for a long time. The reason UFOs are so secret is that they don't want you to know. We could have lunch on the base in the moon and be back in the Alps to take a ride in the Alps by dinner.
Exactly. You know,
and all I might add, without spending one of your tax dollars on tons of petroleum.
Exactly. Well, what they've had is a device which projects an electrical screen between two poles, and you just walk through this screen of electricity, and you're on Mars. It's so amazing. It's almost like they've had this transporter device ever since the late 60s, but they haven't told us about it. They just put it on television on Star Trek and made it seem like a make-believe show, but actually it was reality. And you know where they got this stuff from, Clayton? They got this from the Greys that are right now below ground near Dulce, New Mexico, and they're breeding like crazy. And in fact, that's where all of our kidnapped children from age 5 to 12 are going, disappearing to. They're taking them downstairs near Dulce, New Mexico, and hooking them up to drainage machines. And these drainage machines take the hormonal serum from them and mix it with chemicals to feed to these young Greys. And they're, like I say, they're multiplying at the moment, and our children are disappearing more and more every day. And people are wondering where they're going and what's going on and why all the trouble, and nobody really knows what direction to go now. So what we have to do is get a handle on this and turn the cattle, so to speak, and get them to go the right way before they all run off the cliff. And it's not a funny thing, and time is running out. And even though I try to sound a little bit funny at times and humorous, I've got no time left to joke around. It's all or nothing coming down to, Clayton, for this entire world in which we stand right now. And all these people like Ted and these different idiots that come on this chat board and lash out and say all this stupid stuff. You don't even know what's going on, brothers. You don't have a clue, because if you did, your knees would be knocking right now. But this summer is going to be the time of tribulation, which has been predicted in the Bible for a long time. And we're going to have to wait and see just how the public votes. But you can count on me, Clayton. I'll be riding right next to you the whole way, and we're going to give it a try like you've never seen before.
I'd like to see something happening. Now again, I've come up with a scenario. I've come up with a scenario. I've said that I think we need to go back 100 years, and we need all of the charm of the 19th century with all of the convenience on the 21st. in my idea, in my concept, Obama's idea of greening America